Hello, Adebayo. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me at all?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good. Good afternoon to you too.
We're still
Hello.
expecting, yes, we're still expecting some students and others. I would give them roughly 5, 6 minutes. So let me just keep admitting and then we'll continue.
That's fine.
Esther, hello. Are you having issues with your mic? Okay. So welcome everyone. This is the NUGA Volunteer Webinar Network. We would be kickstarting today. Yes. Thank you so much, Adebayo, for joining us. Thank you others that are here with us. And I'm guessing our FISO ambassador is also here with us as well. Sorry, let me just keep admitting some students. Yes. So yes, we're almost a full house. And I would officially be welcoming all of us here to the NUGA Volunteer Network. This is the July edition. So far, we've had numerous webinars this year. They were the foundation for the one we are having today, from digital skills, to professional guidelines and every other thing that our volunteers and our students would need to prepare themselves in their careers and as student volunteers are about to face the world. Today's webinar is more focused on preparing and gearing ourselves for the 28th NUGA Games, which will be happening live at the University of Calabar this November. For more information, kindly check out our socials. Thank you. I'm supposed to hand over to our FISO ambassador. I don't know if she's here with us or she's having issues. I'm like, I'd really love if she could respond so I can quickly run through the slides and we move on. Hello, Esther. Are you there with us?
Yeah,
You're here
I'm
with
here.
us.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you now. We can all hear you. So I will just roughly share my slide, run through the little things, and then floor would be yours soon, Esther. So welcome everyone and others that are still joining us. Our topic for today, the title is on Beyond the Volunteer Tag, which is standing out through service at the 28th NUGA Games. Yes. So welcoming you all once again. Let me just run you through the background, premise, and everything. So hopefully we will be preparing you, our volunteers, and that's other students as well who are still joining us. Yes, so from our accredited volunteers to our Nigerian students, to young professionals out there that are still joining us, preparing you for the games coming up, building professionalism and your work ethics towards being a volunteer, and developing your leadership skills, your teamwork skills, understanding how and what it takes to create opportunities in the volunteering space as a student, as a young professional, as an adult, and equipping students as well to stand out through service. And yeah, that would be that. So our session aim is to build you guys with the necessary skills, understanding what it takes, building excellence, refining and honing your professional skills and accountability, strengthening teamwork and communication, creating opportunities through volunteering. And as we go on, I would also be introducing our speaker. He's here with us today, Mr. Adebayo. Mr. Adebayo Olatunde. Yes, he's a sports administrator, a physical education and student committee member. He's currently doing his master's at the Seoul National University. He's an expert at sports governance and leadership, university sports development, volunteer management, student leadership advocate, and he's also very passionate about creating opportunities through service. Yes. We welcome you once again, sir. Beyond the volunteer tag, what does it take for you what are the necessary things you need to know or need to understand before you say you want to take up or wear the volunteer tag to come and work during the games? So we will be putting you through today through our speakers. You understand what it means to volunteer beyond assigned roles, professionalism and your work ethic, leadership and problem solving skills, teamwork, and networking. This is having interpersonal relationship with those you work around you, and also industry experts in the sports space. From NUGA to FISU, what it is to create a national to international opportunities for yourself as a student and as a volunteer. And as well, with the totality of the entire webinar for today is majorly also preparing you for the 28th NUGA Games. And with that, I would be ending the slide here. The rest is exercise and questions. And please do well to drop all questions in the chat bar with your name, your full names, your universities, and your questions in the chat. Thank you so much. Esther has finally put on the screen. Thank you. You can take the floor. And these others, kindly put on your cameras. And if you are also in the group chats, please make use of our banners so we can see all your beautiful faces. Thank you all.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Kolawole Esther Anuoluwapo, and I am the NUGA Physics Student Ambassador representing Nigeria for 2025-2026. Amongst other things, also the Chief Medical Officer of the Unilearning League. So basically, I'll just be talking about life as a volunteer from inception when I started to where I am now, and my little piece of advice to every volunteer coming for the 28th NUGA Games. So I started as a volunteer with a very intriguing mindset. I was a very, very curious person. And so I wanted to volunteer to know more about sporting activities, sporting events, and also to network and make use of the opportunity. So as much as I wanted to serve, I wanted to learn, and I also wanted to make meaningful connections and network. So getting into the 26 NUGA Games, I met a lot of people and amazing people, and that was the first time I met Adebayo. And fortunately for me, he placed me among the people that were working in the administrative office. And there's where my journey into sport administration began. I worked with the secretariat at the 26th NUGA Games, and it was an amazing experience. So for everyone here, I want you to understand that volunteering is not just people call it free labor. Me, I see it as an opportunity to serve, an opportunity to work with people I will not have the opportunity to work with even as a student. Because let's be truthful to ourselves. In Nigerian universities, you may not get the opportunity to be able to work with sporting gurus, marketing gurus, and all, but volunteering gives you that opportunity. And that's one attitude I would like us to take to the 28th NUGA Games. Volunteering gives you access to people, and also it makes you confident in taking up leadership positions. because of the volunteering opportunities that I had, I saw myself in some roles that I never saw myself in before. And this eased my way into leadership roles, even in my school and even outside my school. And also it builds my self-confidence because applying for to be the NUGA Faithful Ambassador was so a very, very big step for me. I was somebody that okay, I'll always let me do my thing myself, stay in my lane. But yes, volunteering gave me that confidence. It built my self-esteem and it gave me the confidence to take up leadership role. Another thing about volunteering is that it gives you the opportunity, like I said, to make meaningful and targeted connections. Now, when you are at the by the grace of God, when you make it to the 28th NUGA Games, one thing I want you to understand is after serving and of course there may not be any money they will give you, any stipend. There may not be anything in a monetary aspect that will be given unto you. But if you understand that this is an opportunity, you understand how to make use of the opportunity. And one of the ways to make use of the opportunity is by making targeted, meaningful connections. What do I mean by that? For example, I'm a physiotherapist. I study physiotherapy in school. And me going to the NUGA Games, okay, after I've worked, maybe I'm working in the administrative area or I'm working in photography or videography, knowing that I want to specialize in sports physiotherapy, I will reach out to people that are working in sports physiotherapy around here and make networks and connections. If you're an administrator, you connect with people that are doing sports administrative activities at games and connect there. You can never know, you can never tell who will help you to find your next job, who will help you to find your next big break in your career. And also, when you are going to the 28th NUGA Games, always have an aspiration, always have a mindset that this is what I'm coming here to do and I will do it well. My logo is that if you are starting something, make sure you start it and do it well. Don't do it halfway. Don't complain because that's one thing about volunteering. We don't complain. I remember the FASU volunteers edition when they were addressing volunteers and she said, come rain, come sun, we show up. If it's 6 a.m., we are supposed to be there. We are going to be there. Even if rain is falling, even if sun is shining, we are going to be there. And it just shows dedication. Volunteering builds your dedication, it builds humility, it builds understanding, and it builds respect for the profession and sports. So make sure you make use of every opportunity it presents to you and also be available. Let people know you. And most importantly, after you've done all this, you've served, you've made yourself available, you've done what you are supposed to do, you've done everything right, make sure you document. If you don't document, you've lost almost everything because of documentation will show that you were actually there. And these days, nowadays, social media is proof that, okay, it's your new CV. So if you don't document and don't post on your social media, for example, like LinkedIn, you're missing out. You're missing out on a lot of opportunities too. So like I said, make use of the opportunity, make targeted, meaningful connections, and also be ready to serve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Esther. That was very, very profound. Handing over to you now, Adebayo. Floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. It is nice to be here. Uh, the funny thing about this webinar is that the very first webinar done by NUGA in 2020 was organized by me, and so coming here to be a facilitator for this is quite interesting. So I'm truly grateful to be invited to speak about beyond the volunteer tag. So if you can share the slides so that I can go straight forward to the presentation. All right. So beyond the volunteer tag, standing out through service at the 28th NUGA game, from local impact to global opportunities. Now, this presentation is going to be a bit formal and it's also going to be quite informal because the topic speaks to my journey as a volunteer. I started in 2020 till now, so it's been 6 years in the journey. How everything turned out, the local impact I was able to make as a student in University of Lagos, to getting global opportunities, working for the International Invest Sport Federation, doing a master's and all of that. So I'll be sharing like personal stories, while also like giving you principles that would help you to stand out through service at the 28th NUGA Games coming up in Unicau. All right, so next slide. So there are 6 focus areas we'll be looking at. The first is volunteering beyond assigned roles. And then we'll look at like everyday leadership and problem solving. We'll look at the horizon from NUGA to FISU. We'll look at professionalism and work ethics at NUGA, strategic networking and teamwork. And we'll also look at arty preparation for the 28th NUGA game. So these are like the 6 focus area that my lecture will go beyond. Please pay attention as much as you can. And if you have any questions, you can note them down so that by the end of the presentation, you can ask those questions. But these are like the 6 areas we'll be focusing on. Next slide. So I believe that everything has to do with mindset. How you approach things, whether it's work, whether it is volunteering, it doesn't matter what it is. Like if you approach anything with the wrong mindset, it sort of like affect how you handle stuff. People that I've worked with, whether it's in organizing a game, it could be like faculty level, it could be department level, it could be national level. I've always been very careful about their mindset. Like I need to know that these are people that are in for the right thing. And before I like start talking about the 4 like major stuff you can see right here on the screen, I'll share a story about how I selected my team leaders for the 2022 NUGA Games, which was at the 26th NUGA Games. So when I was told I would recruit volunteers for the games, and we're recruiting about 1,000 volunteers, I knew I needed like a very good team around me. So what I did was I started thinking about people that had either a personality trait that I may not have, or maybe I'm not as great at it as they are, or I was looking for individuals that I knew or have seen them actually give their all to particular things. So the kind of personality I have, I'm a bit more reserved. I'm not the aggressive type. You will not see me shout. You will not see me, scream my head off at someone doing something wrong. I'm always like pretty reserved. But I needed somebody that was a bit more assertive, somebody that was a bit more strict because I could be a bit pliable. So what I did was I thought of a friend of mine that I did a project with, Ajibade. And then I brought in Ajibade, to assist because Ajibade is a bit more strict, a bit more firm. And then from Ajibade, I needed like more people. And then I remembered 2 people from a department outside of my department. So usually when somebody wins an elected position in my campus, it's the people from his department or our department that support him or her. So there were 2 people outside of my department that were supporting the sports secretary of my faculty then. And I remember then they were always giving it their all, they were always there. Before you even see members of my department, you see these 2 guys. So I'm like, definitely, I need these 2 guys on my team. So I texted them and said, hey, I'm recruiting volunteers. Do you want to be part of like the main team? And they said yes. And that was how I started selecting the team leaders that became like the bedrock of what you have now as the volunteer network. We had people like Angela that was in the media team. You had like people like Ibukun. Like these are individuals that started the very volunteer network that you're a part of. And the reason why I chose most of them was their mindset, like the kind of person that they were. And that is why it's very important because being around the wrong people or inviting them to do a job that is very crucial and them having the wrong mindset is something that will really affect you. And that's why we have to talk about mindset. So the difference between an ordinary volunteer and an outstanding one is usually not talent. It's not about how skillful they are because you can meet the most skillful person and they have the worst attitude, right? So it's usually about intentionality. Yeah. So first, the baseline. When it comes to a volunteer, you're moving past just completing tasks and checking a box because task completion is the floor. It's not the ceiling. Like the barest minimum you can do as a volunteer is to finish a task, is to do your job. Like that is like the bare minimum because that is why you've been called to be a volunteer. But then you need to go beyond that baseline or beyond that bare minimum, because nobody recognizes you for bare minimum. Because if, for instance, there are 1,000 volunteers and they are all doing their jobs, there's nothing that makes you different from the other volunteer. You're all on the same. And for you to stick in the minds of people, you have to do more than the baseline. So, two, there's the shift. How do you stand out? You need to be able to anticipate organizational needs before they're explicitly stated. See the gaps that exist before anyone else does. Now, one thing I've learned from volunteering over the years is that it is very difficult to preempt problems. It doesn't matter how smart you are, how calculative you are, there will always be a problem, because human beings are a very unique set of species. Like, if you think that you've had every area covered, something will come up during the games and then you realize, oh, you've not had this covered. And when you are like at the head of like a volunteer team, like I was in 2022, I couldn't see everything because I wasn't everywhere. So I needed people that could quickly recognize problems before they occurred. People that were tactful enough to see where there could be tensions, and they were also smart to report those problems before they became like really big. So you need to look at a volunteer opportunity as not just completing a task. You need to be very observant, take note of stuff. All right. If there's a gap, if there's anything that needs to be filled, you need to be able to recognize those gaps before any other person does. There are people that were not team leads when I was managing fast food games that became team leads or assistant team leads because they were able to recognize certain gaps like very quickly. Three, value creation. You need to be able to contribute creative solutions that elevate the event experience for athletes, officials, or spectators alike. Because whoever it is that manages a game does not know it all. All right. So you need to, because there are people that will always tell you what the problem is. Oh, there's a problem here, there's a problem there, there's a yes, there are problems, but what is the solution? Like, how can you fill in the gap? I also noticed that the reason why a lot of people don't like to talk about problems that they can see is because they know that if they talk about those problems, they will probably be the one that they'll be assigned to solve those problems. So people don't like work. So instead of telling you about the problem that is happening somewhere, they rather not say it because they don't want to be given more work. So yes, if you do that as a volunteer, you just be the regular volunteer. If you're able to contribute creative solutions to problems, you are recognized a whole lot faster. All right. And then lastly is ownership. You need to treat your assigned role or assigned sector as your personal project with pride, with accountability, and full investment. Like, make it your personal project. Like, if you see me during the games, I remember one time, this was the fast food games. There was a problem with, I think there was an event. It was a track event, and the starter blocks were on the track. So, but something else was going. There's going to be another event, and they needed volunteers to like remove those starting blocks and put them somewhere else. Now, those, if you've carried them before, you notice that they're pretty heavy. So I remember then we didn't have enough volunteers, and I went to the track and I started like, you know, lifting the blocks myself with some of the volunteers I could find. I remember someone was telling me, "Oh, Bayo, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're the leader. You're the this. You're the that." I'm like, bro, like, let's leave whatever position or role you think I am. We need to get this out of the way. And that is the most important thing. And that is way bigger than the role. Now, the reason why I would do that is because I'm not thinking about a role at that point. I'm not thinking about a position. I'm fully invested in ensuring that the game works. I was willing to be anything even beyond my role to ensure that everything went. So I was a boy. I was a logistic person. I was cleaning places. In fact, if you see me during the games, you probably never know that I was the one that was recruiting managers or managing the hotel. You will not know because during games I work as a regular volunteer. And that is how it's supposed to be. You need to treat your assigned sector as a personal project. Like, people need to see that you are doing this thing with all of your heart. And when you do that, especially if you're a volunteer leader or a team lead, volunteers under you would recognize that and they want to even do more. That is how it's supposed to be. So outstanding volunteers don't just show up. They serve with purpose and create visible impact. People always know them. People recognize them. Whether it's the team leader, whether it's the overall head, people always note them. And Everyone likes somebody that makes their job easier. So if you're able to make someone's job easier, it helps you to stand out. And that is the sort of mindset that you need as a volunteer. Next slide. Now, the unspoken currency, professionalism. So this is a very important facet of volunteerism because people think that because they are not being paid, it then means that they are free to act any way they like. And the truth is, if you work in maybe Nigerian setting or even an African setting, let me put it that way, the conditions for a volunteer is usually like really terrible. Like these are not the conditions that anyone would want to be in or anyone want to experience. Like sometimes I'm ashamed of the conditions that they put volunteers under me. But I always make sure that if there is a problem or there's something that I'm expected to give my volunteers and I did not give them, I explain why I cannot give them. And I also ensure that I fight for whatever rights that is accrued to those volunteers. But let's look beyond that. Yes, there might be issues, there might be problems where, or there might be scenarios where conditions are not favorable, but you still need to be professional. You still need to get the job done. Now, that is not the ideal position because, of course, if something is not going well, you should speak out, which is very fine. But you still need to be professional about things. You still need to ensure that even though you're not being paid money, you are punctual. So the first thing here is reliability first. How punctual are you? How present are you when you are needed? No exceptions, no excuses. Like, and this is very crucial. If you say you're a volunteer, yes, it is of your own volition. Yes, it's probably not paid. Yes, you probably not get the sort of rights or benefits that should accrue to you. But no one should ever say of you at any point in time that this person was not reliable, that this person was not punctual, this person was not present. The task that was given to them, they did not fulfill it. You need to be reliable first. That is essentially key for you as a volunteer. Two, you need to act as brand ambassadors because you are the face of the game. You need to ensure that you are doing right, like in terms of your value, in terms of your character, in the way you speak to people, in the way you react in situations. You need to be brand ambassadors because that's what we're raising NUGA volunteers to be ambassadors of NUGA, ambassadors of the country. Three, radical accountability, communicating issues early and owning your mistakes before they escalate into larger problems. It is very easy for small issues to compound into very big problems, and you need to be able to be accountable because, yes, we will all make mistakes. At some point, you would react in a way you're not supposed to react. I remember a time, this was the 2022 NUGA Games, and we had to do COVID testing. But apparently, that was not communicated quickly to volunteers that they would have to stay up all night to help the medical team to facilitate the entire testing. So we were like the team heads, we couldn't sleep. And when we eventually left the testing area around 5 a.m., we had to be up by 7, and back. And then by 7 a.m., we're back on the field. I was working from 7 to like 9, 10. I remember somebody called me on the phone and it wasn't a number I had saved. And the person was wasting my time trying to because I was like, who's this? Who's on the phone? The person was wasting my time. I remember I just like lashed out at the person because the person was wasting my time. Now, that is an example of a mistake that could occur as a result of the pressure of the entire event. But you need to be able to own those mistakes. You need to be able to be accountable for them because there will be mistake. Lastly, respect matrix. Treating everyone from the cleaning staff to referees with equal dignity and respect. Basically, treat everyone right. You as a volunteer, you must not be looking at pockets or looking at class or looking at positions. You must not treat somebody better because they're putting on a suit and somebody else is wearing shorts. No, you have to respect people regardless. Regardless of how they look, you just have to respect people. This is very, very crucial because if you treat people based off their pocket or based off how they are perceived, it shows the kind of person that you are. And that is like entirely wrong. You have to be professional in all instances. Treat people right, answer questions when you are being asked. All right, this is very important. So professionalism during the games, it leaves a footprint that opens door long after the closing ceremony. Another fun fact about me is that after like the NUGA games, the FASU games, or basically after university, every single opportunity I've gotten or every single job I've gotten came from recommendation. I've not had to like apply for a job. Like I don't remember having to send my CV first because I needed a job. In fact, every interview I did was a formality. In fact, the job I currently have in Nigeria, I don't even think my boss even opened my CV because it came from a recommendation from somebody I met during the NUGA games, somebody I worked with during the NUGA games. So that is what happens because people see these things. You might think nobody sees them, but people do see them. And usually, volunteering is a way of creating an opportunity for yourself when there is none. Because when people notice your professionalism, when people notice your dedication, you stick in their minds and it makes more doors open for you after the event is done. Next slide. Leadership without a title. So you do not need a supervisor's badge to lead. Every decision you make on the ground is an act of leadership or a missed opportunity for one. And this is very true. Every single decision you make on the ground is an act of leadership. Now, and I say this because as a team head for the NUGA games or even the FASU games, there are a lot of decisions I cannot make because I'm not there in the moment. Imagine every volunteer is calling me to make a decision about something they can see, right in front of them. Like you're gonna kill me. You're gonna like make me overly stressed. So you need to be able to make decisions on the ground. And usually there's a template for making decisions because before you start any games, there are things you can't do and cannot do. There are things that you have to escalate and things you don't have to escalate. So with your shrewdness, you should be able to know the kind of decisions you can make without needing to like get a call from somebody or without needing a supervisor, right? So when you see these things and you can solve them, it helps you because sometimes the problems you notice during a game gives an opportunity. It gives an opportunity to be recognized. It gives an opportunity to maybe grow a skill or learn a skill or whatever. Like this is very crucial. And what is the leadership principles? First, action over position. So leadership is demonstrated through your daily choices, not a badge. And two, proactive thinking, spotting potential bottlenecks, e.g., crowd control, water distribution, and solving them early. I'm trying to remember something also that happened in the 2022 games. So there was a procedure for how you can enter into the main venue for the NUGA games. Um, the security guys were given strict instructions on how people were supposed to proceed. Now, the security guys had greater access than volunteer leaders because they were given, very strict, instructions. And I remember there was a crowd issue at the gate because the security was not letting people in. The security could not tell who was a director of sport, who was not a director of sport, who was a volunteer head that's supposed to be in the venue, who was not supposed to be there. There's a lot of issue. And I remember that during the ruckus at the gate, there was a volunteer that because of the crowd, like people were pressed on her body and it became like a sexual assault of some sort. And then it was she got angry, she was raising her voice, there was a lot of problems. And thankfully there was another team head that saw it and was able to like manage the situation and then help the security person to recognize those that had access into the place or not. Now, these are potential bottlenecks. It takes a lot of tactfulness, it takes a lot of like calmness to be able to like solve these problems. But talking about this particular issue even reminded me of a more bigger issue. Now, this story is I don't think a lot of people know this story. I don't think anyone on this call even knows this story, not even Chidebere. So this was during the orientation for volunteers. This was 2022. And there was we had in my team, one of the members of my team is the daughter of the chair of the volunteer committee. I was just like team head, so there was a chairman of the committee who is a professor. So his daughter was in the country, wanted to do an NYC, so she needed like something to do. And she was older than the rest of us on the team. I mean, in fact, she was even a mother of a kid. So she was part of the team and she wanted to assist us. Now, in the orientation, the vice chancellor wanted us to use the student leaders as members of the volunteer team. Now, if you're going to bring student leaders, these are like faculty presidents, these are department presidents, faculty executives. These are like important people that have influence among students in the University of Lagos. So they were all there with regular volunteers. And I remember they were making so much noise, and the lady that came from the chair of the volunteer committee told all of them to keep quiet. Now she said it in a way that can be perceived as rude. And I remember like the student leaders there were offended by the way she said, "Be quiet." And then it became like a very big issue. Like everywhere was in disarray. There was a lot of shouting, a lot of fights. She was talking, the student leaders were talking back. It was back to back. It was, trust me, it was one of like the most craziest experience I've had leading a particular team or leading like volunteers. And I remember I was confused on what to do because first I cannot support her, because if I support her, I am going against the department executives or the faculty executive, which I was also a part of because I was department president. And then I couldn't also go against her because this is somebody I'm working with. So I cannot throw her under the bus in front of everybody. So I was like in a dilemma, trying to find a way to like sort it out. Now that was a very big problem. It was a very big issue. And what I did was I called one of them that was very loud. One of the leaders, student leaders that was very loud. I was like, bro, I told him, this is what I said to him. I said, I'm the one in charge here. And if this messes up, it messes me up. So you cannot contribute to messing this up for me. So if you need to swallow your pride, if you need to like calm down, do it, even if it's just for me. And then the guy was like, okay, I understand. So he calmed down. And then he spoke to the rest of the other guys and they all calmed down. And that was how we like sorted out the issue. So what I did was I took advantage of the social currency I had with the student leaders in order to like de-escalate the situation. And in that process, I learned, because if that didn't happen, I probably would have learned how to like solve a big issue like that. So, and that is going to the point on the screen, which is in practice, grace under pressure. I remain calm when like an unexpected chaos happened. I was composed. I didn't like contribute to it. I wasn't adding more oil to what was brewing. Just remain calm. And that way I didn't offend anybody. I didn't offend student leaders. I didn't offend the lady that was working with me in the office. And that was how that was sorted out. So you need to be able to have grace under pressure, because in volunteer situations, you need a lot of grace because people will pressure you. The situations on ground will pressure you. People not doing their jobs will pressure you. Even when you're doing your job, somebody will insult you. Somebody will want to sit in a seat they're not supposed to be on. Somebody will tell you that, do you know who they are, even though they are nothing. All of those things will happen during games, and I've had my fair share. Like people will disrespect you. All of that will definitely happen. But you need to be able to maintain grace. You need to be the calmest person in the room. And even when they are crazy, people can tell that, okay, that's the crazy person and it's not you. People like, if you are calm under pressure and you need someone to defend you, people that can see what has happened would give you the defense that you need or require. All right. So you need to be calm. You need to have grace under pressure. You need to be solution driven. Never bring a problem to advisor without bringing at least one proposed solution. Always. Like, yes, it is fine if you can notice problems. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can notice problems. But you need to be able to like propose a solution. Your solution might not work. All right. Your solution might not be perfect. But when people see that you're not just bringing problems to their table, but you're finding a way you can like solve those things. Like so many times I've worked with Chidebere, and there's a problem, and I'm like, oh, I know this person. Like she knows I always know somebody. If there's one thing we need to do, one stuff we need to complete, I'm like, oh, I know this guy that can do this. I know that guy that can do this. The volunteer network, like the foundational volunteer network were basically my guys, people that are like, oh, they can do this, they can do that, they can manage it, they can manage that. Before we started bringing in more new people. So you need to be solution driven. People need to recognize you for the solutions that you provide. Next slide. Your network is your network. Now, this is a very popular statement that you probably hear in every motivational speech. You probably see it on LinkedIn or maybe on TikTok. Like, but it's true. It is absolutely true. Your network is your network. Like many career opportunities began with relationships that were built in chaotic trenches of sport volunteering. There's so many people, I can't count the amount of people I have helped get a job post university, but it's as a result of the networks I made during the games. So like somebody might need something. Oh, I know this person. Or somebody calls me and say, "Oh, bye, I need somebody that can do this." I'm like, "Oh, I remember this person I worked with. NUGA Games. He did this. He can also do the same thing." I'll tell him to send the CV or a CV. Like I've done this a lot of times, more times than I can even count. All right, because truly, many career opportunities began. Even my career, especially outside of so, because I have two careers. I have a tech career. I have a sport career. My tech career started with relationships that were built during NUGA Games in 2022. So strategic networking at NUGA is not just about collecting contacts, it's about building authentic, mutually valuable relationship across three critical groups. Now, usually when you hear things about network or networking, people always say network with people that are better, people that, have already like gotten to a particular area in their field. Maybe somebody that, for instance, some people right now on the call want to network with me because I have gone through the process. I'm like on a higher like level of some sort, right? That doesn't mean I'm better, by the way, but I've gone through the process and I'm in a different plane. But the truth is, there's also a need to network across or network with your peers, and that's what they call peer collaboration. It is treating fellow volunteers as a future professional colleague. Now, the truth is, the person beside you today, whether it's in your school, whether it's in a volunteer community, whether it's somewhere, where you hang out informally, these people could be your future professional colleague. They could be your boss. They could be the person that will refer you. And this is true. So do not look down on anybody. The truth is, people that have motion, they are recognizable. Because if somebody is in motion, you can tell. All right. So you need to be able to recognize those things, see what you can do for them, because that is the first mindset. You must not always see things as, oh, what can they do for you? What opportunity can they give you? No, you have to start, what can you actually give them? So see what you can do for them, and then you then say what they can do for you. Recognize them. You need to be able to recognize greatness before it becomes very obvious to every person in the world. You need to recognize it early. What are the gifts that this person have? What are the abilities that this person have? What can I learn from this person? What can this person learn from me? You need to treat them very well. Like the people around me, like as because I was a class rep in the university, and I treated all of my classmates like properly. Like none of my classmates will come out and tell you at some point Bio treated them badly. No, I treated them well because I don't know where I'm going to meet these guys in the future. I don't know when they will need me. So sometimes even some of my classmates will tell me, oh, they need someone that can help them do this, and they want me to do it. And then they say, oh, this is the amount they can pay, this is the amount they can give me. These are like small side gigs that you need, to just keep body and soul together. But peer collaboration is important. In fact, it might even be more important than any of the other collaborations on the screen because you are growing with these people. These people know you. These people know your work ethic. These people know your mindset. These people know how dedicated you can be. So you have to pair with them. Like this is very crucial. Two, officials, which is upward networking. Engaging respectfully with sport administrators and technical officials. Every interaction is an audition for future roles and recommendations. This is true. Every interaction with these guys. And the thing about these guys is this: all you just need to do is to put your name in their mind or in their mouth. I told someone something. I said the reason why I got the future ambassadorship in 2020 because I was nominated in 2020 by our director of sports. But the truth is, I was not the only person that could have been chosen. That is the truth. In my class, in 200 level, then we're about 120 students. And as at the time that I was chosen, I think I just became class rep or so. So yes, I might be a bit popular then, but I wasn't the only possible candidate. There were other people maybe in 300 level that could have gotten the opportunity. So the question is, how was I able to get that opportunity above every other person, whether in 20 level or in 20 level, even in 400 level, right? The answer to that question is I was on the mind of my professors. And I always say this, if your name is on the mouth of people when they need to get things done, maybe like there's a tax, there's an assignment, or there's an errand, if your name is on their mouth when all of those things occur, it means your name will also be on their minds when there's an opportunity. It is the person that comes first to their mind when there's something to get done that will always be on their mind as well when there's an opportunity. So I remember I literally was washing plates in my house when one of my professor called me. I was like, "Oh, Bayo, do you have volunteer experience? Oh, Bayo, do you have an international passport?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, I have both." And I was like, "Okay, there's this opportunity. I'm going to send your details to the director of sports. He will text you, blah, blah, blah. You have an interview with the NUGA general secretary, blah, blah, blah." Like all of that happened in the middle of Ocean Plate. And then from there, I had an interview with my director of sport, had an interview with the former NUGA general secretary, Mr. Arudili. And that was how it happened. And before that time, let me tell you some of the crazy things my professor used to tell me. I'll tell you one crazy stuff that one of my professors used to tell me to do that you might not believe. So this is one of the funniest errands. I didn't like it, but I mean, I had no choice. So one time, one of my professors called me. This was around like 7 or 8 p.m. It was like he wants to withdraw money from the ATM in uh in Unilag. Now, but he knows that there is a queue. So he said I should stay on the queue for him. So when it is a storm or close to a storm, I should call him so he will come and withdraw the money. Now, I need you to understand this errand very well. This man could have given me his ATM, and his pin to withdraw. He did not do that. My job was to stay on the queue for him till it was a storm. And I did that. And this was around 8 p.m. This was not like class time. This was my own time. And I had to do that for him. For like 3 years as a student in the department, I was the one that was arranging the exam hall for the exam. So whenever we have an exam, there's a hall we usually write. It's called Glass House in my faculty. For 3 years, I was the one arranging the entire hall. So sometimes I'll call people to assist. Maybe I'll like, call one or two people. Sometimes they will agree, sometimes they will not agree. But I'm the one that used to do all of that for the department. So there's no way I'll be doing all of those very crazy assignments, staying on the queue for somebody, going outside school to buy something for a professor, arranging hall every semester for exam. And when there's an opportunity, they'll not remember my name. It's not possible. So yes, it might not be ideal to do all of those things. It might not be it's not my job. Like I didn't have to do those things. But the truth was, I wasn't even doing them because I expected some opportunity. I was just doing it because that was me. I mean, if no one, if I don't know if any other person would do it if I didn't do it. So mine is simple. Oh, they called me. Okay, fine. Let's get it done. Let's move on. It's not going to take more than maybe an hour or 30 minutes. So that was my mentality. And the mentality paid off because when, if you look at it, there's a lot of luck involved. Because number one, you know that happened to host the NUGA Games. Number two, I happened to be in 200 level when the games was hosted. Number three, NUGA president decided that, oh, the first ambassador for FISU should come from the university hosting the NUGA Games. That was another piece of luck that I had no control over. And then lastly, they're like, okay, the director of sports wasn't sure who to call. And he asked a random professor, who do you think we should invite for this opportunity? And one of the professors straight up just called me on the phone. It wasn't that there were like three people in their minds. It was one person. They called straightforward and I got the opportunity. And that was how it happened. So it is important as well to engage respectfully. Sometimes it might not be a sport administrator, it might be a professor, it might be somebody else, it might be a technical official. Every interaction you have is an audition for future roles. All right. Yes, you are bigger than some tasks. Just calm down with the pride. At some point, you will have every right to show your pride. But in your growing phase, be humble, get the job done, learn. You're not as smart as you think you are. You're not as great as you think you are. You just need to be humble. Before you know it, you will grow. Even right now, I'm still humble. Some people say, "Oh, I've not made it. Oh, yeah, I've not made it at all." The only thing I've gotten things that a lot of people have not gotten, but it is still a process. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. And that is the mindset. And that's why the beginning of this lecture was, you need to have like the right mindset. And then lastly, sponsors, cross-department synergy. You have to break out of your silo to engage with sponsors and learn how other teams operate. Sponsors notice volunteers who demonstrate initiative and polish. Now, this is very true, especially in NUGA games or fast games or any games, because a lot of sponsors, what the organizing committee will do is they'll give you a space. They'll tell you this is the space where you're supposed to do your activation or whatever. Now, but they still needs help with like activating, trying to get students to come to their side, or to their tent or whatever. So I remember like quite a number of my team leads then were assisting like brands like Konga, like Pepsi or Coca-Cola or even Monster. And those networks, because after the games ended in 2022, we also had like smaller games to do in campus or in our faculty. And those network we created as a result of helping those sponsors during the bigger games was it came in handy. So we got Monster, for instance, to come for faculty games. We got some other brands to assist as well. And that is how it happens. You need to also break out of your silo, go beyond like your direct ecosystem, because your direct ecosystem is sports people. You need to go to like the brand people, because in sport there's also branding, there's also sponsorship. These are things that you learn if you like move beyond sport volunteering to like maybe sport marketing and so on. So, breaking out of the silo to learn how that teams operate creates a holistic understanding of sports event management that sets you apart, because there are things you will learn. There's a lot I learned from sports sponsorship that became important in my master's degree, because for my master's I met like top people in sports sponsorship from the University of Michigan, for instance. These were people that these are experts in their fields, and you know taking from the experience I had and listening to them, made me better, made me understand things better. Next slide. The pathway to global platforms. This is probably like the place where everyone is interested in. So NUGA is not a destination for sure. All right. It is a launch pad. NUGA is a platform. And for some people, it might even be the destination. NUGA is not a bad destination. Because at the end of the day, NUGA is going to need people that is going to like advance it. NUGA is going to need people that will like maybe change certain stuff. Not that NUGA is bad, but it can be better. So NUGA might not be your destination, which is fine. But if it is your destination, it's absolutely fine as well. So, but for now, let's take it as a launch pad, right? Because every single task that is executed with excellence during the NUGA games builds a reputation that travels with you to international stages. I have a reputation, like every single ambassador that comes after me benefit from my reputation, and that's the truth. If you meet with the person managing the Free Volunteers Academy, they will always say, "Oh, bio." I remember a time there was an issue with a volunteer, and then my first supervisor, Abina, was like, "Oh, why is this person not active? This person is not like you." And I'm like, everybody's not going to be like me. Not everybody will take it seriously. She probably thinks that because I was a particular way, every Nigerian is going to be the same way. No, it's not true. So you need to build your own reputation. And it starts from the games. Like people, like there are certain things that if you report that about me, people will tell you, no, it's not true. Or Bayo did not do that. Or Bayo did not say that. It's not possible. These are people that will vouch because of the reputation I've built. And it's not just in one game. It is from the small games in departments to the faculty, to the national games, to the continental games. You build reputation as you grow in excellent attitude or in excellent delivery. That's basically how it works. And that reputation travels with you because people will know you for those things. I remember like my very first international work with FISO at Croatia, like at the end of the event, like the two sort of leaders, because I'll call it like the two most active people in my committee, they were like, "Oh, do I need like some sort of recommendation letter?" I didn't ask them for recommendation letter or anything. They're just like, "Oh, do I need like a letter?" They will write one for me. They will happily do it. They will even use their university letterhead. I'm like, the funny thing is that till now I've not collected those letterheads, but I'm like, if I eventually need it, of course I will get it from them. So it is that reputation that you need to build, like because people see these things, people notice them. So, like I said, NUGA is a launch pad. Execute small tasks with excellence. If you know that, oh, there's some things you cannot do, you can learn them. There's so many things that I've learned that sometimes I'm not even using. I have learned sport writing. I have learned visual editing. There's some I can't even count how many things I've learned. Some of them I use, some of them I don't use. But because if there's a gap and there's nobody to fill that gap, I just okay, this is an opportunity to learn something and I did it. So two, the transition, translating local sport management skills into international frameworks recognized by global bodies. Now, one thing I'll say is this: every single thing you learn or do is transferable. My first project management job that was outside of sports, I remember it was also a call. I don't know what job I was doing, but I know this time was not plate I was washing, but I know I was also doing another job. So somebody called me. I was like, "Oh, Bayo, I have a friend. He works for Microsoft. He has a startup in Nigeria. He needs a project manager. Blah blah blah. This is what you're going to do." And then I'm like, "Okay, I've done project management, but project management in sport." And the guy was like, "Okay, Bayo, listen to me. Project management skills in sport is transferable skills that you can put elsewhere. So if you've done it in sports, you can also do it in a different sector." So like, okay, all right, sure. And then I spoke to his friend, who is now my boss, and I got the job. And after like 1 year, I went from project manager to head of operations in a tech company. Now that was like taking something I learned locally or in a local sport game into like a different sector. But you can also do the same transition from a local management skills into international frameworks, because international frameworks involves all sorts of people. Your understanding of how like Africans might behave in a game is very instrumental in managing Africans for an international games. All right. It could also be instrumental in how you even manage other people, because human beings, even though are very different, there's also like a bit of similarities. Three, the future horizon. So navigating world university sports opportunities beyond Nigeria, future university games and beyond. So when this is a launch pad now, I didn't want to use future horizon here because there's a whole lot of global opportunities outside of FISU. All right, there's a whole lot of it. But FISU being like the global university sport body, that's why FISU is there. But you also need to look beyond FISU. Like, what are the global opportunities they can find? Sometimes it might be in a particular sport. It might be in flag football. I know a friend. I also met him through NUGA, who's doing a lot of work in flag football in Lagos, and is getting grants, is getting opportunities, is building the league. Contributing to all of that. You need to look beyond. What opportunities can I find? What is wrong with my network? So.
Did we lose Adebayo?
Yes, I think we did just now. It's his
Okay.
network. It's his network.
Okay. Let's just give him a few minutes. He will join again. I hope the conversation has been meaningful for those of you who have been here from the start. Awesome.
We'll be giving Adebayo just a few minutes and then he will join us. It's just a little network issue on his end. And please, everyone, just when he's about to round up, we would all put on our cameras so we could take the usual virtual pictures. Yes, thank you. And if you want to make use of our banner, it's up on the group chats.
Um, if you have questions or thoughts, maybe you start putting them together and putting them on the chat, so that he articulates them and answers them at the end.
Yes, Adebayo is back with us now. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, apologies.
No.
My room Wi-Fi went off, so I have to use my phone. Give me a sec. Okay. Can you see me? Yeah, you should be able to see me now.
Can you still see the screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Okay.
All right. So sorry for that. So yeah, I was talking about like the horizon. Like you need to be able to find up. So now there is a lazy way of approaching finding opportunities, and the lazy way is expecting that somebody's going to call you somewhere and tell you, "Oh, there's this nice opportunity. I think you should do it." All right, that is a lazy way of finding opportunity. You won't always get somebody that would send you those kind of opportunities. Even if you know, sometimes when people think that because I have done some things or I've gone through some process, I can maybe help them, get. Truth is, it probably will not happen that way. More often than not, you have to find opportunities yourself, or you have to create opportunities for yourself. And this is like the truth of the case. I'll give one very funny example. So there was this major sports event. Not it wasn't a sporting, it's like a conference, but it's an African conference where like the top people or the experts in Africa were invited for that event. So uh you had like people like Shea Olofijano of Chelsea coming in as like an agent, talking about like football agency. You had I don't call it Minister of Sport because they've changed the Ministry of Sport to something else. I think National Sport Council. So they brought the chair, they brought the as the vice chair. There was a lot of people. Like if you were doing something important in sports in Africa, trust me, you were at that event. And the event was so expensive. Like ticket then was like the regular ticket then was like 250,000 thereabout. It was so expensive. I did not know about the event at all. Now, one of my boss that I work with was a major organizer of that event, but he didn't remember to call me or like get me because he could have gotten me a ticket. He didn't even remember me at all. So it was it a night or 2 nights before because it was a 3-day event. So 2 nights before the first day, there was this person that I was connected with that works in NESG. I've forgotten what NESG means, but basically NESG. I think it's a national economic something, sport something. But the guy works for NESG. I was like, oh, you remember the conversation I had with him in 2020? And because then in 2020, I was like, oh, if there's any like opportunity or maybe in NESG or anywhere, you should let me know. This is what I do, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, okay, sure. Now, the last conversation I had with this person was actually in 2020 or maybe 2021. And maybe he views my status, I view his status, that is. We've not had the conversations 2021. And this event was last year, was 2025, early 2025. So this person just texted me all of a sudden, after like 3 years of not chatting, that, oh, there's this event, would I like to come? So I checked the event. I saw the price first. I was like, man, now I'll tell you 50,000 to draw for 3-day conference. So I was like, oh, no, I don't have to pay it. That it can get me in, will get me like a VIP ticket, blah, blah, blah. I was like, VIP tickets. And VIP ticket was like 500K upward. I was like, sure, me, I'll come. As long as I don't have to pay 500, I'll come. What am I doing my time? So that was how like I got invited. I was seeing all of the, National Sport Council president. I was meeting people that I met during NUGA Games and FASU Games. I was just meeting everybody, talking to them. And then the person that could have given me the opportunity too was surprised. When he saw me, he was surprised, like, oh, Bio, I didn't even remember. And then was like, oh, do I even have maybe other friends that would like to come? I was like, sure, I have friends. And then I got some of my other friends to come. Now, imagine a world where I did not, maybe I don't know somebody other than this person. I won't have gotten an opportunity to go there, right? I won't have seen it. And the reason why I'm sharing this story is because it is very normal for people to not remember you. Yes, I've said it in previous slides that when you do stuff for people, your name is on their mind. Yes, that is true. But also, people can forget you. And it is perfectly normal for them to forget you because you are not their responsibility. Nobody's your responsibility. Nobody is out there looking for opportunity for you because they're also looking for opportunity themselves. If you think that any person here on this call has made it, trust me, they're still looking at making it further. So nobody's thinking about you per se. So you need to find your own opportunities. You need to like do that dirty work. Find it, or even create it yourself by starting something. You can start stuff. If you notice that, oh, there's an issue here, people are not looking at this area, you really can start your own stuff, right? And this is very, very important. All right, so next slide. Preparation dictates performance. Now, the gap between a volunteer who merely survives the event. All right, great. So my tablet is back on. So let me switch up this. Okay. Oh, no. All right. So preparation dictates performance. The gap between a volunteer who may survive the event and one who leads it with confidence is built before day one in the weeks and days of intentional preparation. Every single person that you know that is performing well did not just wake up somewhere. All right. I remember I was watching this video of there's this musician that's always shouting, there's always fighting with people. I can't remember his name now. Portable. Yeah, Portable. And I was watching a video of Portable on a podcast when he was talking about when he started hustling as a musician in Abuja. And everybody started saying, wow, so Portable actually started from Abuja. That he was hustling with some other artists, trying to blow. And that made me laugh because truth is, whoever you see out there making waves, having motion, they've started a long time ago. If people today will see maybe an event I do in Korea or speaking in Korea, but I've started speaking since 2020, even before 2020, I was speaking since 2019, 2018, representing University of Lagos at the debate tournament and winning tournament orders. So it started way before now. So you need to prepare. All right. So first is mental alignment, grounding yourself in the scope, in the rules and expectation of the game before the one, knowing the event inside out before you arrive. Prevent communication, active preparation in all virtual briefings, group chat, and training modules. Physical and logistic readiness, mapping out your schedules, locations, and responsibilities ahead of time, eliminating surprises before they eliminate your effectiveness. All right. So you need to be able to prepare intentionally. Don't just survive the event, prepare for the event. Next slide. Blueprint for excellence. Now, there are 5 non-negotiable commitments that separate standard volunteers from the crowd. These are not suggestions, by the way. These are the standard. Number 1, you have to serve beyond the baseline expectation. I've said this earlier. You have to serve beyond that. The minimum is where everyone starts. Excellence is where you separate yourself. 2, communicate with absolute professional clarity. Ambiguity costs time, trust, and outcomes. Be precise, be timely, be accountable. Now, this communicating with absolute professional clarity. When I was made the volunteer leader in 2022, like there's a lot of question marks on my ability to do it. All right. The only person that wasn't uh doubtful of my ability was the person that was supposed to be in charge. It was my professor, Dr. Ogushimori. So I remember when they gave him the key to an office he would use to do the whole volunteer thing. He just said, Bayo, come to my office. He gave me the key, said, take this key. I don't know what to do with it. Do everything you need to do. I'm sure you can handle it. And then that was how I did it. And when I got into the role, I was communicating like so the thing was we've already been trained about volunteer management during FISO Academy. So I was talking to them like I had done this before. Like I was, I knew what I was saying. But the place where this thing really showed was in FASU Games. So FASU Games, there were 2 hosts, LASU and University of Lagos. University of Lagos already experienced me in NUGA Games, so there was no doubt about my ability. But LASU people, the person that was heading their volunteer committee there is their Dean of Student Affairs. This is a professor. I'm not a professor. So technically, by rank, he should be the one handling the whole volunteer thing for both university because by rank, he should know better. So I remember in our first meeting when all of the committee members came together, both from UNILAG and LASU, and it was time for us to talk about volunteerism. And then, first of all, everyone was confused on how to start or who should even speak first. So I just, took the reins of the conversation, and I was like, okay, we did this in NUGA Games. This is what we did. I mentioned everything. I was giving him breakdown. I was saying everything we need when we need them. Every damn thing. I was saying those things. This man was just looking. I was just like, okay, okay. He was like, you know what? Because then we've not chosen, we knew who was heading in the LAC side. We also knew who was heading LASU side, but we didn't know who was the overall head. This man was the one that gracefully said, You know what you are doing. You know this thing better. You're going to be the chairman, and I'll be your secretary. Now, it's not a simple thing for a professor to tell you is going to be your secretary. Trust me, especially in Nigeria, it's not a simple thing. But this man was willing to do that. And that's because I communicated with absolute professional clarity. I knew what I was doing. I told him what was needed to be done, and he respected it. So you also have to do that. 3, take initiative daily without waiting for permission. Very, very crucial. You need to take initiative daily. 4, build relationship with intent and authenticity. Very important. Like you need to be authentic. Look, if you are fake, people will know. If you are doing eye service, I know people that were doing eye service. I know the people that were fake, all of them. I mean, I don't mind as long as you just do your job. I don't care what you're doing, just do your job for me. But you need to build relationships with intent and authenticity. Every interaction is an investment. Make it genuine, make it count. 5, reflect on your performance post games to lock in lessons. Yes, you need to reflect on your performance post games because there's so many things I could have done better. Whether it was in NUGA game, whether it was Fast games. If I think that it was perfect, then I'm stupid. There are a lot of things that I've learned, a lot of things that I can prepare for if another opportunity comes. So you need to reflect on your performance. Growth without reflection is just activity. Debrief yourself. Before you do team debriefing, you do your own debrief. So debrief yourself and grow deliberately. Next slide. So a final word, right? It is more than a game and it is more than being a volunteer. So your commitment shows now, all right? At NUGA, show up prepared, serve with purpose, and lead without a title. Every moment, like I said, is an audition for your future. Also, beyond NUGA, carry the relationships, the reputation, and the lessons into every professional arena that follows. It will be outside sports more often than not. It could be anywhere. But carry this relationship, carry the reputation and the lessons. And to the world, physical and global platforms are not distant dreams. I mean, you can see it from my life, they're not distant dreams. Like I grew through the ranks. Uh, volunteer, I was organizing department games or class games. And from department games, I was organizing faculty games as a volunteer for faculty games, physical ambassador, NUGA, NUGA ambassador, and volunteer head. I was just a volunteer head, NUGA Games. Then for FASU Games, I became FASU Volunteer Committee Chair for Unilag, and I became FASU Volunteer Committee Chair for both universities. Then FASU Committee member, student, then FISU Committee member, and education member. Then from there, I got a master's, fully funded in South Korea. So you can see, in the beginning, if you told me 6 years ago this will happen, I wouldn't have believed. And it was last week? Yeah, last week, I had the opportunity to give a lecture to Korean students, at the Seoul Olympic Park. So this is how it grows. Like it starts small. All right. I don't know where the next step will be, but based on precedence, I can tell that the future is bright. All right. If I keep at it, if I don't relax, if I don't think I've arrived, that is how it works. So this session isn't just about the 28th NUGA Games. It's a launching pad for your future. The volunteers who leave a lasting impression are not simply those who were present. They are the ones who turn a temporary tag into a foundation for a lifetime of leadership, global opportunities, and professional excellence. So step up, stand out, and claim your global future today. This is what I need you to do. I need you to step up. I need you to stand out. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Adebayo. That was very, very profound. It was insightful, and I definitely think you should write a book on volunteering. What do you think?
Eventually, actually, I'll
You
write
should.
something for sure.
You
For
have
sure.
to. Definitely. Thank you, everyone. Please kindly put on your camera. Let's take a quick group photo. Can we please do that? And I'm sure the banner has been circulated among you and your mates as well. Please, could you put on for us? Okay. Please, others that are here, you're listening to me, please put on your camera. I'm not begging you to speak, just kindly put on your camera, please. Thank you.
Tell us to
Please, the
say
others that
cheese.
didn't put on their cameras, assume that they didn't attend this webinar at all. There are a lot of you that have not put it on. Sorry, you want to say anything?
No, I say tell us when to smile so that we don't look like
Okay. I'm begging everyone to kindly put on their cameras. I don't know why. Okay. Esther is blushing for us. That's nice. Okay. Okay. Raman, it seems like you're coming back from a wedding, you know. It is well. Please kindly smile for me. Cheese, anything. NUGA. Thank you all, and thank you, Adebayo, so much for joining, for being an awesome facilitator for today. We can't thank you enough, and I'm sure the time difference is crazy. I'm guessing it's like 10 p.m. over there right now. I don't know how
No,
you're doing
it's
it.
11 p.m. No, it's fine. It's
Imagine.
Friday, so the worst of the week has already happened. So it's Friday. It's fine.
yeah, he's done the PPT for the week, so he's fine.
It's even thesis qualifying exam I have today. So next week we'll have our
Oh,
final model.
okay. We hope you copied well.
I did my best. We'll pass. We don't have choice. We'll always pass.
Okay, just to add a little bit, you see, for people like Adebayo and a few others, it's not just him. There's like 3 or 4 others that have stood out, found their ways beyond the NUGA Games, and that's the dream. While this network is very important to us during the NUGA Games, the dream is so that we build Nigerian students who go out there and dominate their fields, who will make us proud. Because I was a Nigerian student as well, and it's worked out. Maybe I'm like 3 or maybe 4 or 5 paces ahead of Adebayo, but we more or less trod the same path, and it gives me so much joy to see him here today speaking with authority. In fact, the speaking event he had in Korea was someone from KSPO that told me about it. That's the Korean Sports Promotion Foundation that told me about it. Before I then called him, I was like, "Hey, big boy, you're now speaking in foreign spaces, you know." What that means is someone also remembered that Chidiebere was there at some point. Again, like I always tell you guys, dedication is what matters. And for us here at NUGA, we'll always try to remember you. We'll try to post out those applications, those opportunities. Don't take them for granted. It's not everyone you apply for that you get in, but I can tell you that most of you stop applying after page 2. And if you don't go beyond page 2, honestly, when you then start applying for the main things, it becomes difficult. So sometimes these applications that we put out to you are so that you begin to practice patience and knowing how to do things. This is part of some of the things that we'll be looking at just before the NUGA Games and post the NUGA Games, just so that we prepare you as a whole before we give you the fanfare of the NUGA Games as a farewell for some of you, and then for others, for you to begin to continue to build that career. So are there any questions? Any questions, comments? Farms him later. Go and find him on LinkedIn
LinkedIn.
or so Instagram. Farms him later. No farms in here. But if you have any questions, any comments, um, please, NUGA Nigeria, is there a way we can get the slides? Yes,
Definitely.
we'll share the
No,
slides with
see,
you.
whoever asked that question has not been here before.
Faridat has her hands up. You
Okay.
want to say something?
Yes, ma. I want to make a comment and also ask a question. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Farida Toluwakemi. Um, First and foremost, I want to say thank you to Bayo. When there is there's a feeling when you are listening to someone speak and it is relatable. I worked with Bayo twice and I can contest to his leadership skills. I can remember there was a time someone's tripod broke. I don't know. People are always watching you. There was a time in the media team, someone's tripod broke and the girl was like, Omo, I no go gree you, all of you, whoever, and nobody was willing to come forward and say, let me break him. So Bayo had to buy that tripod for that girl, almost 30 or 35,000 naira. So in my head, where will I put this account? Where will I put this money? Even if you get a volunteer stipend, no reach, unless you want to lie. So that time, I was telling one of my team members, I said, Omo, if no be Bayo, they do this volunteer team lead. If na other person, if I don't tire or run away, it can be demanding at times. I want to say thank you to Bayo. I'm so happy listening to him. Today's webinar was on Friday, so I had a lot of shuffle between Jumat and trying to meet up. If it was another speaker, I would just say, okay, maybe I'll get recording. So, but Bayo is capable, and I've seen him do the things. I've seen him pull up. I've seen him do a lot of things in the team. And I'm so glad to actually hear him speak and hear him be at a bigger and bigger place. Thank you so much once again, Bayo. And the
You're
question I
welcome.
have is that thank you. Okay, the question I have is that um while at it, while seeking for opportunities, or let me say while waiting for opportunities, do you do any professional courses, either virtually that has shaped you, or all of your experiences as strictly be physical?
Okay, so where wait for opportunities? Yes, I've done a lot of courses here. I'm sure if I open my folder right now, that there are some courses I won't even remember I've done. So I remember one time, this was around like 2020. No, it started from COVID actually. So COVID period when everyone was at home. Oh Lord, I did too many courses. Coursera, I was Coursera's active candidate. Free courses applied. I have a certificate on data analysis. I have a certificate on financial management and valuation analysis. I have on like sport data analytics. There's so many. Like I can't remember, to be very honest. So it's maybe, for instance, maybe I'll apply for something and like I need to like put a certificate. I know, okay, I just check through my catalog. Okay, this certificate goes with this. So yes, like the most important thing is like because I don't know where I'll be. I don't know what opportunity will come. So what I do is I just prepare myself for every opportunity. And a good way to explain this was, 2019 when I looked at my course, human kinetics. Human kinetics is not like the most lucrative course in Nigeria, all right? And I was like, okay, what are the possible options in human kinetics? I had sport management, I had exercise science, I had sport media, and all of the other like sport related fields. So what I did then was I ensured that I built experience on all of those things. So for sport management, I learned that through FISU. For exercise, I did a professional certificate with iFitness. Like a lot of people don't know I have an iFitness certificate. So I did a program. The program with iFitness was supposed to be 100,000 naira. So what I did was I was able to speak with the manager and I got a subsidy for my classmates. So it was 80% off. So it became 20K. So I told my classmates, oh, I was able to get 80% off. You guys should do this, blah, 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 get in. And like 20 of us decided to apply for it and we did a course. Right now, like at least maybe 10 of my classmates work for iFitness at the moment. And it started from me stealing that iFitness subsidy for them to do the professional course. So, but at the end of the day, I'm not an exercise person, even though I can train someone, but that is not my field anymore. And sport media, I co-founded Glee Sports with Chidebere. So I know a bit about sport media. So like my CV, like if you share sports, there is portfolio. Anyone you want, yeah, I'll give to you. So the idea is because I don't know where, I don't know what opportunity will come. I just prepared myself. So anytime one opportunity comes, I'm ready. All right. If I'm not very ready, at least I have a bit of an idea. So yes, do stuff because you don't know what you have affinity for until you try. Product management, I have product management certificate from all school. I have from one other organization like that. I have see project management. I have from Coursera itself and one other place. I'm going to do a PMP at some point before the end of the year. So it's just build yourself. The most important thing is build yourself. So when I wait for opportunities, I'm also preparing myself because I don't know what opportunity will eventually come. So that is the idea basically. And yeah, thank you for the sweet words and the members of the tripod. The tripod. So let me just give a bit of a context to everyone that didn't know the story about the tripod. So I think there was a football game and there was somebody managing the tripod. Because of the excitement of the goal, the person left the tripod that belonged to someone else and ran into the field. So because when people were running to the field, they hit the tripod broke. And it was not that the main part of the tripod broke, it was like the part where you move the camera or the phone. So and the person was like, no, she doesn't want this, and nobody was forthcoming. And the thing I'm amazed is when Wala is too much and I can sort it with money, I'll just sort it with money. So I was like, okay, this tripod, how much is your tripod? She said it's 30K, 35K. I said, okay, fine. I'll send you the money, go and buy your tripod. This particular one that's broken will now become my tripod. So I took the tripod. And the funny reason why I actually took that tripod was that I was like, maybe at some point and I do content. So and I probably will not have to be moving camera up and down. So let me just buy the tripod. At least if I'm seeing the tripod every day, I'll think of making content. But the thing is, I didn't make any video at the end of the day. And I even saw the tripod when I was traveling to Korea. So a friend visited me, saw the tripod, like, oh, she wants the tripod. Hey, you want the tripod? She's like, yeah, she's willing to pay for it. I said, you want to pay. I was even going to give the person for free before, but when the person said she will pay, that no problem, please bring money. And then she paid 15K for it. No problem. 15K for a broken tripod. I'll take that any day. And that was how I sold the tripod I got. So now if I want to buy a tripod, I can buy any tripod I want in Korea. And I've also already started like doing content. If you go on my TikTok now, you'll see content of my class, you'll see content of some of the stuff I do in Korea, see content of my speaking. So I'm also like learning that as well, telling my own story. So yeah, everything is learning, everything is putting yourself out there, everything is building. And if I can solve a problem easily, then I'll take that option anytime, any day. So yeah, thank you for the sweet words once again.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Thank you so much,
Bayo.
Bayo. Thank you. I asked about the online courses because me like this, I'm a learner. The fact that I study law, I see myself doing a lot of things in sports, in media, in marketing. I love media. I'm so passionate about media. And I see some courses, I see social media marketing. I say, okay, let's see how it can go. Then I saw an internship, social media marketer. I say, they now said degree in any field. I said, okay, this is what I used to like. So I don't used to allow a course to restrict me, especially when it comes to volunteering, media or marketing. So I do courses a lot, but I always make sure that there are courses that align with whatever I'm doing. I don't just do courses anyhow. So thank you for pointing out that part, that courses do help too. Thank you.
Okay, I think there is one from
The
Oluwaseun.
There's
Sheun
no more
says,
time. I don't know how long this is going to survive. Sorry. The
no, but
meeting.
it's
Yeah.
less. Oh, yeah, we have less than
Yeah,
30
that's why.
seconds.
Yeah.
Combining the tech career and sports career. Adebayo, maybe just quickly respond to this.
Adebayo, you're muted. Sorry, we can't hear you.
Sorry. So
Mhm.
balancing both, it's a sham. You won't be able to balance it. You just be ready to suffer. Because people always tell you balance. Truth is, if you are doing two things, there's no balance. You will take one other than the other. And that is the truth. So what I would just say is me, I'm a bit lucky because my boss allows me to like pursue my sports side. Like if I want to travel for a sport event like abroad, my boss is very fine with it as long as I do my job. So I know how to do my job and do my other like side passions, right? So I don't know how lucky you might be in this area, but I'll just say is like I'll give you like the cliche answer that everyone gives: time management. So manage your time. But truth is, you will never be able to achieve balance if you are juggling two things. One will take like precedence over the other, and that is the truth. So if you want to volunteer in sports, you have your weekends for it. All right. I always tell you, go for what pays you, because passion is not going to pay you. So sports is not necessarily paying me. In some ways, I get paid, but it's not like fully paying me. So that's why I have my tech side. But there are ways you can combine both. Or there's a point where you grow to an extent where you are able to do something and it's not affecting the other, or you're able to find a way
Yep.
to like even manage both of them at the same time. But in the beginning, like because I'm right now, I'm still like in the growing phase, I would just say do what you can, all right, but have the right priority. Well, if it's paying your bills, please let that one be your number one. At some point I might not do sport, at some point I might do sport and maybe leave tech. It depends on like the opportunity and what I want. So everything boils down to what you want at the end of the day. If you are going to get more from something else, go for it. If you're going to get more from sport, go for sports. If you can find a way to put both. I know somebody, Dr. Victor, was doing sport content. He's still doing sport content anyway, but right now he's more focused on being a professor at University of Lagos. So right now he picks the kind of sport events he's talking about. Back then he was going for everything, WAFCON, Super Eagles comes to Nigeria or to the camp, he manages those things. But now it's more focused in. So like time will always tell. You will just know when you cannot keep on doing something, and you will know when to like either leave it or to continue. So just be tact, be wise, like go with the time, ask yourself critical questions, but forget trying to balance. You don't go balance. Trust me.
And also for your academics, your priority is your education. These other things are for you to build character, because when you graduate, your vice chancellor will stand and say, we attest that we have built this person in character and
And learning.
academics and character and learning, and this is why you're graduating. If in other climes, volunteering time actually adds some points to your CGPA. For instance, I accrued so much volunteer hours and points that if I apply for a Korean visa now, I would get it without thinking about it, because it just adds something to you. But for in Nigeria here, like you've heard from Adebayo, like Faridat has also told you, hopefully we'll bring back some of our old guys who are now working. I know a few of them who are married now as it is and doing well in life. So 2020 was 6 years ago, and it's something that you have to realize. This is for you to build character, know what you want, to learn how to work it's an active working environment. You build yourself, learn how to communicate and stuff like that. So like I always tell you guys, these webinars are important to help you, so that by the time we get to the NUGA Games, it is less talk, more action. Because those of you who are in the network should absolutely stand out from every other person. This is why you're in this network. And at the end of the day, you're not just getting a certificate for being in the volunteer network. You're living with an experience, and hopefully you're living with a connection, which is why sometimes I'm a little bit puzzled that I think this uh in the last 1.5 year is the quietest I have ever seen a NUGA Volunteer Network WhatsApp page. It's a safe space for you guys. Have your conversations, have your banters. The World Cup came and went. There was nothing. It felt like you guys had another place where you catch your fun. So make your connections. Your fellow students are your most important connections, and because you're growing with them. So I'm just going to let off with Stella to do the closings, and then we go away from here. Oh, I think we have people who are not the network members on this chat, which is a good thing. Sam, if you could send a WhatsApp message, or sorry, send an email to NUGA Nigeria 2018 at gmail.com. NUGA Nigeria 2018 at gmail.com. Just do a small introduction, and then we'll see what we can do for you, Sam. Okay. Stella, you're muted.
It's true. Sorry. So thank you all so much for joining. Thank you so much, our facilitator, Adebayo, and my awesome boss, Lady Chidi. It's glad having you here. Esther, our FISO ambassador. Thank you for, for doing the introductory speech, for giving everybody the right ginger they needed. And all the amazing people that joined, I'm really grateful, but the turnouts still really unsettling to me. I won't lie. It's really not nice. And then tomorrow people come and be shouting, where's my shirt? Where's my tag? And you didn't do anything. But it's fine. God did. Anyway, thank you all so much. And I hope that NUGA is a stepping board and volunteering is a stepping board for you and other future opportunities waiting for you out there. Like Adebayo said, grab every opportunity. Don't imagine or create the illusion that you can balance anything. You cannot balance anything. All of them are there staring at you. Pick everything. Pick the one you can pick. Like usually, like take the bull by the horn. Start with that. Hit the nail on the head. Attend to what you can attend to. You're not Superman, neither are you Supergirl. So do your best and leave the rest for God. Thank you so much for joining. And it's still me, Ogechi Stella Mmeka, your administrative officer and communication strategist for NUGA. Thank you. And I do not want any disturbances in my DM. Thank you so much. And have a wonderful day.
All right, thank you guys. Let's see again next month. Next month from August till November.
October.
I am till October. I am doing the facilitation. So please tell your friends, if you don't attend my sessions, you are out. Unlike Adebayo, I am very strict. I am very straight to the point. Those of you who have worked with me know that I'm the nicest person you know, and I can also be the meanest person you know. So please get your head in the game and let's do this correctly, because the 28th NUGA Games, we have to continue to do better. We've always excelled. Nigerian universities have finally, what Adebayo and his team suffered in the 26 NUGA Games did not replicate itself in the 27th NUGA Games, because by the time we got to 2025, the whole of Nigerian university vice chancellors are aware of the broad network of the NUGA volunteers. Provisions are made for volunteers and are taken care of. Abaya, I can tell you what you experience is not happening anymore. So we need to continue. We don't just put all the pressure on the universities and then do not stand tall as Nigerian students. It's very, very important that we stand tall post the game. So see you guys next month. And also those of you who contribute to our social media, you're in my heart. And would always continue to do things together. If you have stories, reach out to Stella. If you have some immediate stuff that you want us to do or to post on our sites, don't just ask us to collaborate, because we don't collaborate on everything. Make sure you share the raw content with us. We'll shape it in such a way that it tells the story in the NUGA perspective, and then we'll move on from there. Thank you, everybody. You're in my heart, eh? Let's see each other next month.
Bye.
Bye. Adebayo, go and sleep. I hope your roommate doesn't kick you out tomorrow.